right now. We might be live as we speak. So, welcome to You've Got Mel, Carla Parkinson.
Thank you.
So, we're going to talk today about this amazing story of your parents,
Right.
incredible story of how we met, our high school days, and anything else you want to talk about. And the Beatles, maybe,
Okay, sure.
if you want to talk about the Beatles. We have to start out with the jingle, right?
Yes.
You know, the cost me money, took years, and so on. We got to do that.
I like it.
Okay. You can't have it, though.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint you. I know.
Get a chair, grab a seat, or we'll sweep you off your feet. We move, we groove, you got Mel. Ease your legs, rest a while, all you gotta do is smile. We're swell, can't you tell you got Mel? When the show begins, you better hold on real tight, or before you know it, you'll be high as a kite. Take a break, settle down, we're the only show in town. SRO, don't you know you got Mel? Give it up, don't think twice, we're a hurricane on ice. What the hell, give a yell, ring your bell, show and tell. Mademoiselle, give a smell, you got Mel.
You've got Mel. And Mel has Carla Parkinson. Carla, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Mel.
You know, we've met in person only once,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about that. And you're younger than me. I have a younger sister who's your age, but I don't want to give it. Don't want to give too much away here.
Okay.
Um, let's first of all, you live in Canada,
Yes. I live in Burlington, just outside of Toronto.
which is near Hamilton somewhere.
Yes, yeah, just over the bridge from Hamilton at the end of Lake Ontario.
Okay, and let's start with your parents and the incredible story of your parents.
Okay, well, my dad went overseas during the Second World War, and my mom at the time, she's from England, and she was living in London at a very young age. She was only 18. And my dad was stationed in London, and they met at Speaker's Corners at Hyde Park. And well, my cat.
That's
And
okay. We'll interview the cat later.
okay, all right. And they met, and they were married within a couple of months. Well, actually, no, a little bit longer than a couple of
So
months.
your dad was how old?
My dad was 27, I believe, and my mom was 18. So there was a bit of a difference between them,
Her,
but it was
her,
your
her
classic love at first sight, you know?
yeah, but her British parents, your grandparents, must have had a fit.
Well, my mom had, that's a whole other story, but my mom had actually moved out. Her mother had passed away, and she had moved down to London. She was very independent, my mom, and she just wanted to, work, and even though it was an awful time, it was an exciting time in London, particularly, other than when it was being
Well,
bombed.
it was an exciting time. You had all
It
of the
was.
bombings in 1940 and 1944. My
Yeah,
goodness,
yeah, yeah.
that's too exciting. That's like Israel.
Yeah,
Too
exactly.
too exciting.
Yeah,
Worse
much.
than Israel.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom used to talk about the buzz bombs. She would hear the bombs, and then when you didn't hear them anymore, that's when you knew you had to take cover. They were falling somewhere. So, she's told me stories about that. But another thing, they almost didn't get together because they met at Hyde Park, and they decided to meet at the London Zoo at a certain time. And it was when the time changed. I believe it was in March or something, and they were going to summertime. And and so my mother was there an hour early. She was there at the right time. My dad was an hour late, but she figured out that he had.
Because your dad was the Canadian, right?
Right. Yeah, probably. Anyway, she ended up waiting for him, and then they ended up getting married in London at a registry office. And
How soon after they met?
well, I think it was in March of 1946 that they met.
But
and
they
they were
got
married
married in 2 days or something?
no, October. They were
Ah,
married
okay.
in October of 1946.
Hmm.
And then soon after that, so they really just had a few months being together. Soon after they were married, well, they went to Dublin for their honeymoon, which was neutral during the war, right? So they were able to go to Dublin. And then my dad was sent back to Canada. So my mom came over on the last war bride ship in February of 1947. It was called the Aquitania, and it was the last one bringing the British war brides over. So that was kind of exciting. To be on the last one. They settled in Kitchener, Ontario, but my mom had to come through Toronto. So they arrived at the station. She arrived in Halifax and then took the train to Toronto. And it was in the middle of winter. And the first thing they did, well, my dad was there to meet her, of course, and his brother and wife. And the first thing they did was they took her to Eaton's, a department store. It used to be a famous department store here, to buy a pair of boots, because she had to have boots in the winter. So that was, kind of a cute story.
That's
and,
amazing.
and that's it.
And had she been to Canada before?
No, first time, first time.
So
So
that must have been quite a shock.
yes, it was, but she was excited about it. She had her grandparents were still alive, and her father and her brother. So her brother was 12 years old at the time. My mom was 19, and she hasn't seen him since. He's living in South Africa, but they've spoken to each other, but they haven't seen each other since 1947. But they've
Till
kept,
today?
pardon?
Up until today?
Yes, they've never met again since my mother left Canada, because
That,
he moved to South Africa. So
yeah, but Carla, you can get to South Africa from Canada.
I know it just never panned out.
Every time we talk, things get stranger and stranger.
I but they had their first Zoom meeting, I would say about 5 years ago, which was really nice. And my mother is now in a long-term care home, so she doesn't get out that much anymore. But I still with social media, I'm able to talk to my uncle, and it's very nice to have that connection still.
And you have cousins in South Africa?
Well, I have two cousins I've never met. One is in Australia, and the other one, I think is in South Africa. I'd have to double check that.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
again, we've connected through social media. So I'm in
Your,
touch.
your dad grew up where?
He's from Kitchener, Ontario, which is
Another one of these big cities in Canada.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And your mom grew up where?
She was from a small area called Stoke-on-Trent, which is where
Hmm.
it's right in the Potteries, which is where Royal Doulton and manufacturers like that were. So her grandfather had a glass company called Weir's Glass, and that company was eventually bought out by Royal Doulton.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Now they're long gone. Obviously my great grandparents, but it's
That's
still.
quite remarkable. And what did your parents do in Canada, in Kitchener?
Well, they eventually moved to Ottawa. So they ended up getting a hearing aid company, Zenith Hearing Aids. And so they owned and operated that company for their whole career, their whole life. They worked together. So my dad was the audiologist, and my mother she really looked after the office and the patients. And
And like
so
and they got along well.
yes, they did. Yeah, yeah,
Because I didn't want to ask you this question, but parents who meet at the speaker's corner of Hyde's Park,
yeah.
where you have these vicious debates going on, and then marry after just a couple of months of whirlwind. Do you have a brother who's like 12 or 14 years older than you?
Do I have a brother?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
No,
so they didn't get married because of some
no, no,
imminent,
no,
imminent. No,
absolutely
I'm
not.
sorry, I had to ask. It's indiscretion of me. Sorry. I
No,
knew I
no,
knew
no.
the answer was no.
Yes,
And I've met your mom, and she's wonderful.
yes,
So so your parents got along well, and they had this company in Ottawa for hearing aids.
yes, yes. Yep. And
Incredible.
then, I mean, they retired long ago. My mother is now in Burlington. So when my father passed away, well, they ended up moving from Ottawa back to Kitchener so that they could be closer to me in Burlington. And then now my mother is in Burlington. So yeah, yeah.
Did they like Ottawa?
Yes, they loved Ottawa. Just loved
And
Ottawa.
so do you have siblings?
No siblings.
Just
No,
you.
just me. I'm the only one.
Ah,
Yeah.
the one and the one and only Carla.
Yes,
So
yeah.
so the Schuett is important.
It is. And, I'm on social media, I go by Carla Schuett Parkinson because I like to connect with my friends and if, they
Hmm.
wouldn't,
But
you know,
I'm going to call you Carla Schuett Parkinson if that's okay
okay,
then, because
that's fine.
it's so important for the memory of your dad
Yes.
and um and the what's the word, a homage to your
Yes.
mummy.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
and so and now okay and I would never have met you had it not been for this incredible experience that you are going to tell us now, and
Oh,
I try not to interfere. So you'll tell your version, and then I will
okay.
embellish it as I
Okay.
remember.
So just a bit of a preamble, I would go over to England quite a lot with my mom. So we would go over just about every second year. We'd go over to London particularly because she loved London. And so on one of our trips, we're sitting in a pub, um, and I overhear at the next table to me, I overhear a young gentleman talking to someone else about Canada. And then I hear Ottawa. So of course I interrupt, and this person is you. But at the time, I we found out we were from Ottawa. We found out we went to.
Hold on a second. But there
Oh,
was some like we said hello,
yes.
and then you asked me what to order, which in
Oh,
retrospect I think is kind of strange. This is my memory
okay.
because
That's
your mom's British and she would have known that in a pub, But maybe you
I
asked
was
me what do
think,
I recommend in this pub
or maybe I was
because
just trying to break the ice. You know.
that's also possible. You're extremely kind. Okay, so we talked and then we didn't talk, and then
Well,
you told me you were from Ottawa.
yes. So my recollection is I overheard you talking to this other person, and I don't remember who. Like I don't remember that person at all. But
Nor
I
I,
just
nor I.
no, I just
No.
heard Canada, and then so I said, okay, well we narrowed it down to Ottawa, and then I said, well I went to Hillcrest, and you said, well so did I, and
No, 1 second, 1 second.
okay,
You're getting ahead of yourself here, Carla Schuett.
okay,
So, well, as I remember,
yeah,
you just said that you were from Canada, and then you said you were from Ottawa, and I said, "Oh, I'm from Ottawa."
okay,
And then you said, "What high school did you go to?" And I said, "Well, there's a million high schools in Ottawa, right?"
yeah,
And you said, "Yeah, but which one did you go to?" And maybe I said Hillcrest, or you said Hillcrest High School. I said, "No, that cannot be. That cannot be."
yes, I
From the same
know,
high school, like there's a million high schools in Ottawa.
I know.
Go on, go on.
Well, and then I think we might have talked. Well, you told me your name,
No, you
and
asked me. So once,
well, I asked you. Yeah, I said, "Well, what's your name?" Yes.
yeah,
Once we
and I
determined.
said, well, you won't know me because I'm much older than you, right? That's what I said. I said I'm much older than you,
Yes.
and then you said, "What's your name?"
Yes. And when you told me, I went, "Oh my!" Do you have a sister, Rena? And you said yes. And Rena was in my class from grade 9 to grade 13. We've been in the same homeroom for 5 years, and so and she was your sister, and then it was like, oh my goodness.
It was, it
Wow.
sure was. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, sitting in a pub in England, striking up a conversation with complete strangers,
Yeah.
finding out that you and your mom are from the same city,
Yes.
you went to the same high school,
Yeah.
and then you were in class with my sister. And
Yeah.
I said to you, you said to me, "What's your name?" I said, "Well, no, Carla, my name isn't going to mean anything to you
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm older." And you insisted, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
Mel Rosenberg. And then you looked at me like I'm getting goosebumps every time
I
you
know.
tell the
I know.
story. And you
Yeah.
said, "You're Rena's brother."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "Oh no, that can't be happening to me." Well, I'll tell you something. See, this can happen with Jewish people
Oh.
because Jewish people, you know, there's always like a couple of degrees of separation, right?
Yeah.
But as far as I know, you're not Jewish.
No. No.
And it was incredible. It was like your mom and your dad meeting at
Yes.
Hyde Park.
Yeah. It's like fate sometimes, isn't it?
Unbelievable. And I
Yeah.
remember your mother very well.
Oh, that's nice. I have the exact date and the name of the pub, believe it or not. And
Come
I'll
on.
nope. So I'll tell you what I do every
Let
time.
me guess. Let me guess. Let me guess. It was near Marble Arch,
You're right.
and it was in 1996.
You're off by a year. It was. I've got it here because
Well,
I'll tell you
show
how
me.
I've got it. I've got it written here. This is a page out of an album. So every time we would go to London, I would make a commemorative album of pictures and notes and stuff that my mom and I did, and I'd give it to her at Christmas. So I've got all these albums of all of our trips, and that page out of the album, I went back and looked at them because I've got them all at my house now. And it was
Incredible.
Sunday, November the 23rd, 1997.
My dad's birthday. I said 1997.
You said 96.
Oh, I meant 1997.
Oh, okay.
No, November
So it was,
23rd, my dad's birthday.
oh my goodness. Now, isn't
19,
that something?
1997.
And
And
it's
the
the day
address?
we arrived, pardon?
What's the name of the pub?
Bricklayers Arms Pub. And it's still there. And it's just around Marble Arch. It was very close to the hotel we were staying at. So
What hotel were you staying at?
at the Thistle Marble Arch. It was called Mount Royal back then, I believe. But it was,
Yeah, probably I was staying there or at the Cumberland.
oh, baby, yes, yeah, yeah.
I stayed
So,
at both of them. That's incredible.
yeah,
So every
yeah,
year you would go back on November 23rd to the Bricklayers pub with your mom and wait for me to show up.
yes, it never happened again. Oh my goodness. Until all these years later, when I saw that you had commented on the Hillcrest High School site, and I sent you that note saying, you probably don't remember this, Mel, but
Yeah,
I
how
remember
could
that.
I not remember that? That
I
happens
know.
once in your life.
I know, I know. And back then, I think if it happened today, it might not be so important. But back then, you know, um, it was a smaller world, right? We didn't have social
There
media. And
was no social media.
right, right. So to meet
I
someone,
mean, try and tell young people there was no such thing as social media.
yeah,
I don't even think it was ICQ. I mean, there was like it was. That's right.
yeah, yeah. So to meet
There was
someone
no
like
cell phones, and
that, exactly, exactly. And just the fact that, I mean, I had to write my notes down on, with pen, and like right now you'd be putting that stuff in your, cell phone, and it would probably be long gone. So I'm glad that we met when we did.
And of course, when the next time I saw Rena, I don't know whether I was on the way to Canada or not,
Yeah.
but Rena freaked out. You
Oh,
met Carla in a pub.
I know, because it's such a small world,
And she
Yeah.
told me that you were like the most beautiful high school student ever,
Oh my goodness.
and
Not,
and very nice.
Well, that's very nice of Rena. I remember Rena fondly, and we're friends on Facebook now.
Mhm.
We have been for a few years because I reach out and try to connect. So I don't know how I found her, but there's a lot of people. I was able to connect with Rena, which was nice, and she's just close to me, so we should try and meet someday.
Yes,
She
oh, well,
lives
the three of us should meet.
well. That wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, next time you're over.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
after the virus.
Yes, yes.
So
Oh,
and you became an accountant.
well, yes, I didn't get a designation, but I studied enough years for it
For for
to
for me, for
to.
me, you're an accountant.
Okay, yeah, I'm a
And
number.
I think that explains, your taking these notes and making these albums, right?
Possibly, possibly.
You were a very organized student at Hillcrest?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah. And I'm nostalgic too, right? So I knew that making these albums, my mom would appreciate them, but in the long run, I would have them too, and they'd be a sort of a
Well,
record.
that's incredible because when we spoke for 2 years after 23 years, you didn't tell me about these albums. This is new.
It is new, yes, it is. Yeah, yeah,
Incredible. I remember that pub.
yeah. It's funny. I don't quite remember the pub because there were other. We used to call them that. We'd go to the closest one to wherever we were staying, and we
I
would
was
call
I
our
was on the
local.
right and you were on the left. But it's always like that, right?
Well, you see, to me, you were on the left.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, good. So we
So we
remember that.
remember, you see. And
And
I
you
and I
were in the corner, and
and
we
I
were.
recommended recommended the fish and chips.
Okay, good. Well, that's probably what
So
I had.
so um so let's now get back to Hillcrest High School. We
Yeah,
studied at one of the best high schools that were ever invented, at least in the 1960s and 70s.
yeah, I
And
agree.
we didn't even know it.
I know, I know. It was a
So
wonderful school. Yeah.
who were your favorite teachers?
Well, I
Let's
have to say,
let's shout out to some teachers.
Ken Crouch, Mr. Crouch would be one of my favorites. And did you have him?
Did I have Ken Crouch? Did I ever have Ken Crouch? I had him like 3 or 4 years out of five.
Okay, there you go.
And
So,
he would sit like this in class and
yeah, yeah.
smile. He was the favorite of a lot of high school girls because he was so cute and attractive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Rena and I were in a class. We were in a physics class with him, but it was an experimental class, I believe, at the time, where we took grade 13 physics and grade 11 and 12, I believe. So we took it. We started taking it 2 years earlier, but over a 2 year period. So Lena might be able to help me out better with that, but that's what I remember. So we had him, we were kind of an experimental class for him, but he was one of my favorites, absolutely.
So Ken or Kendall Crouch ended up winning the
Yeah.
Prime Minister's teaching award.
Yes, I
I
understand.
found that out waiting for a train in Crewe, England, from
Oh,
some family that were also from Ottawa, maybe related to you.
okay.
And they told me, they said, did you know that Hillcrest High School was considered one of the best high schools in Canada when you
Mhm.
studied there? And I was so moved that when I went back to Israel, I wrote a letter to the principal. She must have thought I was a real weirdo, just to say how much I appreciated studying at Hillcrest.
Yes,
And
yeah.
as time goes by, I appreciated more and more. So Ken Crouch, he was amazing. Um, really an incredible teacher.
There were a lot of good teachers, Mr. Hayes for Latin and
So
all
that's
of that.
the second one, whom apparently is well.
Yes,
Uh, he must be in his 90s or something. Um, and
probably.
he was our Latin teacher, our English teacher, and I was thinking about it today. There was a kid in class called James Maddock, and I would never remember him except for Eldred Hayes, who used to say, "Come on now, Mr. Maddock, what is the name of the game?
Yeah.
Quidditch, Woody."
He had so many quips, he was, I guess you could call him a bit eccentric, right? But he
I
was
would
a,
I would call him. Well, you're Canadian, so you call him a bit eccentric.
yeah, you would call him a lot.
I would call him a weirdo, but
No.
a very well loved weirdo.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And he gets on our Hillcrest site, he gets a lot of kudos. You know, he's really fondly remembered and well liked. Yeah. Yeah, I had Mr. Hubenig. He was my homeroom
Yes,
teacher in grade 9. He was a great English teacher. Um, oh, there's so many. I probably can't remember, I can't remember them all, but
yes. Mr. Hubenig and I had a. I'm not gonna. He was a really good teacher, but we had a falling out.
oh,
I'm not gonna go there.
okay.
But he was also in charge of the chess club,
Oh, all right.
and I won the high school chess competition, even though I wasn't really a player. But I just kept playing against people that had been uh, beaten by inferior people, and I ended up winning.
Oh, all right.
But I
Yeah.
wasn't that good. But
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Mr. Hubenig, yes, and who else?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I should pull out I've got all my yearbooks here. I,
Did you study
Mr.
with
Casper,
Mrs. Baziloff?
I had, well, I didn't have her. I had
Her
her, I
husband
believe
also
I had
taught.
her husband. Pardon?
And Mr.
Yeah.
Trudell for chemistry?
No, I didn't have him. I had Mr. Casserly for
Yes. And how
science, I
about
think.
Dent Wilson
Oh, Mr.
for,
Wilson
for
for
math?
math. Yes. Yeah, he was good too. I really liked him. There were a ton
Saunders
of good
also.
teachers.
So, I mean, the fact that both of us remember all of these
Yeah.
wonderful teachers, Penny Pablo,
Mrs.
oh,
Pablo, yeah.
we had so many really good teachers. Um,
Yeah.
and I find that really important because people, they spend their lives teaching kids, and sometimes we're obnoxious. I'm sure you weren't obnoxious, but I was very often obnoxious. And some of us grow up and have extremely successful lives and make money, and we owe a lot to our teachers. But
Yes.
we never seem to mention them.
Right, you're right. And you always think they're so much older than you, and then you find out as we age, and the age we're at now, they were at the time were only some of them were only 5 or 6 years older than us. If we
Yeah.
were like in grade 13, they anyway, it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed my high school years.
Yes. And so I think I enjoyed them. But as I told you once, I felt that Hillcrest was a very anti-Semitic high
Yeah,
school,
yeah.
and you didn't feel that way, but you're not Jewish.
No, and that's a good point. But I'm also not anti-Semitic. So, right? I mean, I came from a family that we never, our next door neighbors, our best friends were Jewish. So I grew up with, it's so I didn't see it, but I'm
It's
sure.
very strange. But I thought about it afterwards. If you're different, and in Hillcrest there was maybe 1,800 kids, and
Yeah,
maybe 40 Jewish kids,
yeah,
and so what of I don't know, you're the account. If there's 1,800 kids and
yeah.
40 Jews,
Oh, that's a small
that's not very
percentage.
many. Small percentage.
It is a
As
small
Mr.
percentage.
Bradley, the principal, would say, it's the 0.1%.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
my best friend at high school once said to me, "We can't be friends anymore because my parents found out you're Jewish." Well, that was one of dozens of things. And what is strange to me is that, like when we had this conversation, you said, "Oh, I never realized that could be." But if you're strange to other people, the other people aren't going to recognize it, prejudice the same way that you do.
Yeah.
I guess that's the. And so I started thinking about different kids when I was growing up, and different people that I know, and maybe they harbor the same kind of feelings.
Yeah.
But to be Jewish at Hillcrest High School was almost like being, blue, or
Yeah.
being one
You
foot
know, that
tall
just
or something.
goes, it just, I never realized that. And when you told me that, I've thought about it many times since you mentioned that the first time. And it just, I, I mean, there were a number of Jewish kids in my class. And I, to me, we were just a class of kids. Like
Yeah,
it
so,
didn't matter.
so Carla, I thought about it. So let's say, so I'm thinking now that let's say most of the kids, right, um, had never met a Jew, and their parents brought them up not to be prejudiced. But all you need really is 1 in 10, and I guess that's what happened. That's anyway my memory. After Hillcrest,
Yeah.
I packed up, went to Israel, and never really came back.
No, I know.
So I'm so happy to meet somebody like you.
Yeah.
Um, and now we're going to talk about the Beatles.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Segue. Oh, you want me to go? Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, uh,
It's your show. I
oh, it's
talk
my
about the Beatles
show.
all the
Well,
time.
on many of these excursions to England, my mother was a very willing participant because we'd go to Liverpool and we'd do all the stuff. So after John Lennon was murdered in 1980, I started to get I mean, I always loved the Beatles. I was always interested in the Beatles, but I really started to delve into their, you know, history and stuff like that. So I would say more than the music, I looked into their lives, their childhoods, their, maybe what inspired their songs. So on one excursion, we went to Liverpool. And this is before. Nowadays, you could go to Liverpool and there's a million companies out there saying, I'll take you on a tour of all the sites. But this was in the early 80s. And so we hired a cabbie in Liverpool, and we I had all the addresses from all of my research, my books. I knew where they all grew up, all four of them. I knew the streets they were on, the schools they went to. Of course, we went to Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields, all that. But so that's the kind of stuff that I would do. And um, I'll tell you a story. You're going to really love this, Mel.
Okay, but yeah, that's
Uh,
a big commitment. I've never been. I love the Beatles. I teach the Beatles. I've never been to Liverpool. I plan to go,
oh,
and I've
it's a
never
great.
even I've never been to Abbey Road, to the cross.
Oh, you got to go there. You got to
Okay,
go there.
okay, next time, next time.
Next time. Oh my goodness. And Paul McCartney just lives around the corner,
Might get lucky, right?
yeah. So what was the story I was going to tell you? Oh, okay.
It was an
So,
amazing, incredible story.
well, I think it is. For a Beatle fan, I think you'll appreciate it. So their Apple Studios used to be on Savile Row in London. So when I can't remember if it was the 80s or the 90s, I think it was more likely the 90s. I went up and I knew the address on Savile Row. I think it's number 7, but don't quote me on that. And I knocked on the door, and it was a business. It was an architect or something like that, some kind of business. And I said, this used to be the Beatles office, and the rooftop, where they performed their last live concert, right? I said, can I come in and see it? And they brought my mother and I in it was, as I say, it was an office at the time. I went up these little narrow stairs, which the Beatles would have got up and down a million times. And I stood on the top of that apple roof where they
Come on.
performed that impromptu concert. And I have a ton of pictures somewhere, but I couldn't find.
Where they recorded Let It Be?
Well, they didn't record that there, but
Yeah,
that's right. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, yeah. So they had a number of songs that they sang, and so that was very interesting to me. And then so I thought, well, I was able to get into that building, so why don't I go and knock on Paul McCartney's headquarters? His headquarters are in London, and I think it's Soho, but again, it's a square. I can't remember exactly now. And I went and knocked on the door, and I said, hello, I'm wondering, this is Paul McCartney. May I come in? And they said no. So, so my luck ran out. Anyway, yeah. So I'm a bit of a, I guess you could call me a bit of a well, I wouldn't say a stalker, but I certainly like to go around and have a look at, what made them tick back then.
So what made them tick? I'm the opposite. I listen to the music and try and figure out what made them tick.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wouldn't say you're a stalker because
No,
you said it.
I said
So
it.
you,
Yeah,
you saved it from me. You're not a stalker. You're just a fan,
yeah, exactly.
an
Exactly.
avid fan,
Exactly. And I mean,
and with the
yeah.
guts to knock on doors.
Yeah. Well, with my mom at my side, to sort of steer me on. But
It's
yeah,
always good to have your mom.
yeah, it is. I mean, we've done a lot of things over the years, but she would always be a willing participant she loved it too, but she knew I was a huge fan. So, I mean, I've got a beetle brick from the cavern, so the
What do you
old,
mean?
well, the cavern in Liverpool was where they would play. Now that the old cavern isn't there anymore, they've got a new replica set up on Matthew Street in Liverpool, but the
Hmm.
old cavern, at the time they were selling the bricks, and I think there were, again, I don't quote me, but 5,000 bricks from the cavern were being sold for £5. So I bought one, and they're certified by the city of Liverpool. um, I bought one and I brought it home, and it was a heavy brick, so you can imagine, but I've still got it downstairs, and they're selling on eBay now for, maybe £100, £200, but
And
it was
and
a
go
pretty good
know if it's
investment.
the right brick, right?
Well, it was certified. I'm hoping they wouldn't lie about that. And there was
Why why
only,
didn't you why didn't you bring it to the show? I'll have to
well,
have you on again.
you might, it's just downstairs. I should have, I should have had it. It's yeah, it's interesting, but you can Google it. They're all, I don't know if there's that many. At the time, I think there were only
I'll
5,000.
I'll I'll, I'll give you £50 for the brick.
Okay, no, I wouldn't sell it.
I
Anyway,
just
yeah,
I just checking. I wouldn't buy it.
you wouldn't buy it. Okay.
£60.
Okay, sold.
Okay. So
So,
okay, so
you were talking about numbers. I'm a real number person, and the Beatles first, of course, they never came to Ottawa, right? When they first came to Canada,
Simon and Garfunkel did.
I know, imagine that, but not the Beatles. They
They
came to
came to the
they came to
Capitol
Toronto.
Theater in 1968.
Oh,
Okay,
well, that's in
I
19.
was there.
Okay, I saw Tommy James and the Shondells at the Capitol Theater.
There you go. You won't see
But
them at the Capitol Theater anymore, though.
no, 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 it's no longer. You're right.
And that's
Oh
that's
my, guess what? Guess what I've got? My husband overheard
what
me.
you have a brick.
Here
You
it
have a
is.
come on.
That's
Where's
it.
your husband? Where's your
Oh,
husband?
well, Mike, hello. I don't know if he'll come now. He just he must have overheard me, and he brought it up. So there it is, Mel.
I said, hold it steady. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm going to go into business now that I've been fired from my college.
Oh,
I'm going to like buy bricks and fix all kinds of things, you know.
yes. There you go.
This is a brick from Moses' first home.
Okay. Well, there you go.
This is this is a stone that Abraham kicked. I can,
Or maybe this is a stone
yeah,
that John Lennon leaned against.
exactly.
That's my story.
So if you ever if you or your husband ever need to downsize your house or get rid of bric-a-bracs, uh, give me a call.
Okay.
Okay, so now I want to know which songs you like. Can you pick your best Beatles song, your favorite Beatles song?
Um, yeah, I liked Norwegian Wood and
Oh,
In My Life. Um,
okay.
oh God, there's so many. I mean, it's so difficult, but
Okay, no, but I mean you mentioned Norwegian Wood because in my life is a very, a lot of people think that that's one of their absolute best songs, but
yeah.
Norwegian Wood is one of their best songs, but people won't say it is because they had other best songs that are better songs.
Right, right.
But Norwegian Wood is a particularly really good song, but it's a song of of you tell me.
Well, it's where he meets a girl, and it's like a fleeting romance maybe, or and that was John Lennon's song, and a lot of his stuff is based on his experiences. I mean, I love his music, all
So
of his.
you're a John supporter rather than a Paul supporter?
Yeah, I would say so. I like Paul. I've seen him a million times, in
But
concert.
that's why they wouldn't let you in.
Oh, that's right. I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
You had
But
it written all over your face.
I know. Yeah, no, you can't come in. Okay. So, but I was going to tell you, just to go back to another thing where I was mentioning I am a number person, and the Beatles first landed in Canada on my 10th birthday. So there you
Wow.
go. So like, I just think that's kind of cool.
You've seen Paul McCartney in concert?
Yeah, a few times. Well, more than a few times. Yeah, yeah. But I have friends in Burlington that actually saw the Beatles in 1964. And, I mean, because they never came to Ottawa, I never had a chance. But I have a particular friend who said his parents took him to his mother, I think, they took him into Toronto, and they waited for him. And he remembers it, being mayhem. Doesn't have the ticket anymore, but I believe him. And I'm very envious.
Yes, indeed. Um,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
What are your favorite songs for the Beatles?
No, no, this is about you, Carla.
Oh,
I'll tell you
okay.
at the end.
Okay.
Norwegian Wood, but it's a song of, it's so the opposite of you. It's a song of betrayal. It's a
Yeah,
song of arson. It's a song of deceit.
it is. I know. I know. But
So I lit a fire.
I know.
Isn't it good? Norwegian Wood.
Yeah. I suppose you're right. I mean, I didn't ever look at it that way. But
Can,
it's
can,
maybe
can you
just.
sing a bit of it, please?
Oh my goodness, no, I don't have a voice. I
Yes, you
can't.
do. Everybody has a voice. I'll
Uh,
start it for you.
okay.
I,
Once met a girl. That's it. I'm not a singer. I once met a girl. Isn't
or
it?
should I say?
Yeah. No, I'm not singing. I can sing I've Got Mel, but that's about it.
How can you sing I've Got Mail? I don't know the words.
Well, it's the jingle. It's very catching, and I
Go
every
ahead, go
time I
ahead,
hear it.
sing it.
No, 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 no. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, jeez.
So this has been wonderful,
It has
and
been. Oh,
it's great seeing you now for the third time
my cat's
in
making
uh,
it.
in 24 years.
I know. I know. Amazing.
And take care of your mom.
I will. She's
And
right now, it's in lockdown. They put we're not allowed to visit because of COVID, but I talk to her every day, so she'll be
and
interested to
your
hear.
husband doesn't want to say hello?
Well, he's gone into the other room now. He's not a morning person, let's put it that way.
So, Carla, it's been great having you on the show.
Yes, I've enjoyed it, Mel. I was hoping that
And
Rita might make an appearance, but I guess not.
who?
Rena, your sister.
Rena's really shy. She won't be on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Uh, there's four kids. David and I love to be on anything.
yeah,
And Rena and Miriam are,
yep,
they appear when they have to, but they are the
yeah.
most incredible sisters. Well, I mean,
Oh,
Rena.
yeah. I'd love to see Rena again. So maybe we can make this happen.
Okay.
The three of
So
us.
we need to wait for
Yeah,
good weather, good health, and a good
yeah,
vaccine.
exactly. That's for sure.
So Carla, thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you, Mel. It was
Take
fun.
care, dear. Always
You
fun.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.